Welcome into the Lakers report here on Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. And the NBA trade deadline came and went without the Lakers making a move. So at 0-4 without LeBron James in the lineup, they figured to be active in the buyout market, and that could include a guy who we've talked about a lot here on the channel, Andre Drummond. The news finally made official that Andre Drummond and the Cavaliers have agreed to a buyout. He's now a free agent, so Drummond can sign with any team across the NBA. And it's been reported for a while that the Lakers and Drummond have mutual interest, and the Lakers are seen as one of the top suitors. Why is that? They've suffered injuries to the front court, and they could also use a player of Andre Drummond's caliber. He could come in, start right away. He could come in off the bench. He's an excellent rebounder, gives you a little bit of a defensive presence. Not a great free throw shooter, but Andre Drummond and the Lakers, a possible pairing on the buyout market, and he could agree to a contract worth any price. So let me ask you this. We've talked about Drummond and the Lakers' interest for a while. Do you want the Lakers to sign the big man? Hop into the comment section, type Y for yes or type N for no. So I mentioned some of the abilities of Andre Drummond. This is why I like him to the Lakers. He would improve Los Angeles' depth. He plays really, really hard. So what he lacks in some bouncy athleticism, he makes up for it with some effort. Andre Drummond is also one of the most elite rebounders in the NBA. When he was playing with the Cavs, and he hasn't played since February 12th, he was averaging 13.5 rebounds per night. On the other side of the spectrum, why are there some concerns about Andre Drummond? And here's some reasons why I dislike Drummond to the Lakers. He is not an elite defender. So in the pick and roll, if he has to play up against an athletic big that can roam around the three-point line, Drummond might struggle to get out to the perimeter. So he's not the most elite defender in the NBA at the center position. He's also a poor free throw shooter. So late in games, can Frank Vogel put him into the lineup because he's not all that reliable at the stripe? He shoots less than 60% from the free throw line, so he could be an intentional target to foul late in games because teams understand he's not going to knock down free throws at a consistent clip. Also, with Andre Drummond, he's on an expiring contract, and while the Lakers can offer him any amounts of money and he can accept any type of deal, it has been reported that Andre Drummond wants to secure the bag for next year. So would he go to a team like the New York Knicks that going into this summer has a lot of cap space and they can offer him a max contract around $20 to $25 million? That is something to monitor as well. But Drummond, he played for the Pistons. He played for the Cavaliers. Wouldn't he want to hop on board a title contender? And if he goes into a starting lineup with the Lakers, they'd be stacked. Dennis Schroder at the point guard spot. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope playing the 2. LeBron James playing small forward. Anthony Davis at the 4 with Andre Drummond at the 5. That right there, Laker Nation, is a really elite starting 5 if Drummond decides to make his way out west to LA. So grade that Lakers starting lineup for me. Scale it 1 to 10. I'm going to go with an 8. I think that's a really legitimate starting lineup for the Lakers if they do decide to sign Andre Drummond. So the NCAA tournament, it has been crazy, and the Sweet 16 is taking place this Saturday and Sunday. If you want to play some wagers, if you want to make some money, make some bets, you can do so. And I suggest you use this link right here. Head to chatsports.com/Lakers, and when you go there, use the promo code LAKERS125, and if you do that, you get a 125% deposit bonus. There is not a better deal out there. So head to chatsports.com/Lakers, use promo code LAKERS125 and get a 125% deposit bonus. Let's get to the Lakers news and rumors. And on NBA trade deadline day, the Lakers were silent, but they almost made a move for Toronto Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry. And according to reports, this deal between the Lakers and the Raptors was really close, and the Lakers were all in on Kyle Lowry, but the Raptors elected to keep him. And what's interesting here is I thought the Raptors were going to deal him because not only is Lowry making $30 million a year this season, but he's set to be a free agent after this year. So I thought Toronto, from their standpoint, they were going to deal him away to try to get some assets back, because I would imagine that with Toronto undergoing a rebuilding process, they're not going to keep Lowry. Instead, they hang on to him. And according to multiple sources with The Athletic, this deal was almost done, and The Athletic wrote up a possible trade scenario that almost happened between the Raptors and the Lakers. This is from The Athletic. Multiple sources told The Athletic that the Lakers and Raptors discussed a trade that would have sent both members of the Los Angeles Lakers starting backcourt, Dennis Schroder and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and likely some draft compensation to Toronto for Lowry. Throughout Thursday morning, sources said the sticking point was the inclusion of Talen Horton-Tucker, who we've talked about on the channel here. That continued. The same sources said that Rob Pelinka insisted that the price was too high for the 35-year-old Lowry and that he was not willing to trade Horton-Tucker, the 20-year-old combo guard who has emerged as a valuable rotation player for the Lakers in his second season. So I mentioned the deal there. Take a look at it. The Lakers would have received Kyle Lowry. The Raptors would have gotten Dennis Schroder, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Talen Horton-Tucker. That, of course, is a hefty package for a point guard who turned 35 on NBA trade deadline day, but Kyle Lowry is an NBA champion. He's gritty, he's tough, he can defend, he can play offense at an elite rate, and even at this point in his career, he is still one of the best point guards in the league. So let me ask you, Laker Nation, you see it right there. Would you have made that deal, albeit it being a hefty one? Get into the comments, type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. I'm interested in what you guys have to come up with. I probably would have made this deal even if Talen Horton-Tucker would have been included in it because the title window is open right now. LeBron is 36 years old. Anthony Davis is often brittle. You get those two guys back, pair them up with Kyle Lowry, who can kind of spell them for a little while as they recover, and you're looking at one of the best big threes in the entire NBA. Let's move on to the latest injury news on Anthony Davis, and the star player has not played since February 14th due to a calf strain. That's an injury that lingered for a while for AD, and he re-aggravated that injury against the Nuggets. And now he's been out for a few weeks. LeBron goes out with a high right ankle sprain. And since that injury for LeBron on Saturday, the Lakers are 0-4 since LeBron got hurt. And they are starting to slip in the Western Conference standings. How long is Anthony Davis going to be out? Well, according to Chris Haynes, it's still going to be a little while. Chris Haynes reported that league sources have informed him that Anthony Davis is still approximately 2.5 weeks out from returning. Chris Haynes was told that AD will come back before LeBron, who it was reported he has a 4 to 6 week time window. And Chris Haynes reported by saying, I don't know by how much in terms of Anthony Davis coming back ahead of LeBron, but that's the way it stands right now. And this is what the Lakers have been missing without AD's services. He's probably the best number 2 in the entire league and one of the top 10 or 15 players across the association. He was putting together a fantastic year. It wasn't as good as his first year in Los Angeles, but you look across the board right there, Anthony Davis, he's a do-it-all, all-star forward who can also play center as well, and the Lakers have sorely missed him in that starting lineup, especially when you consider that LeBron is going to be out for the foreseeable future. And without LeBron and AD, the Lakers have not been good of late. 0-4 since that LeBron ankle injury, and they have now slipped to 4th place in the Western Conference at 28-17, and there is not a lot of wiggle room after the first couple of seeds in the Western Conference because the Trailblazers are closing the gap. The Nuggets made some big moves. They're closing the gap as well. The Mavericks are hot. And then the Spurs, Grizzlies, and Warriors, not teams that you really have to worry about if you're Los Angeles, but if AD is out for a few more weeks and LeBron continues to be on the shelf and the Lakers continue to play like they have the last 4 games where that offense has been lackluster, where they've lacked some defensive firepower, if I'm Frank Vogel, I'd start to be a little bit concerned about the Lakers' playoff prospects moving forward. I say that. What do you think about the Lakers' playoff hopes? Are you concerned about the Lakers getting into the playoffs as they sit here on this Friday, 4th place in the Western Conference? Use the comment section as a way to vent. Let me know how you're feeling about the Lakers' playoff hopes. So, if you made it this far, obviously you like what you've seen here on the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. We're bringing you the freshest news and rumors. If a guy like Andre Drummond does sign with the Lakers, we're going to do a video and report on it, and we're going to bring you all the latest news on any buyout signings as well. Also, we surpassed 34,000 subscribers earlier this week to honor Shaq. Let's get to 35. help us out. Hit that big red button down below and head to YouTube.com/LakersTV.